everybody. How are you doing? We lost on the road. Shocker. Because you know what we do consistently? We lose on the road. Anyways, I am Peter Brown, and we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're gonna wallow in our sorrows, but it's early in the season, not to get too upset. But we've got a home game coming up soon, so that's gonna be fun. But we've got a lot to talk about tonight. And as you guys know, I'm not allowed to do the show alone. So let's welcome in everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Ed. How are you doing, Ed?
How's it going, Peter Brown? Ready for another home game because that seems to be the only way we can win. So.
Seems to be the only way we can win. I pulled some stats we could talk about in a few minutes of how many road wins we've had in this team's history. It's not a lot. It wasn't that hard of a stat to pull. Wasn't a lot. Oh, listen to this guy. I already see a chat in here, Ed, and I know it's a little early to talk about the chat, but I already see this chat. Listen to this guy. Richard Greenberg. Hi, everyone. What a wonderful day.
Richard,
listen, and rubbing it in from the first second of the show. Look at that. Look at that guy.
Oh man,
look at
we
that.
We haven't even started naming people.
I know we haven't, but listen to this guy. He's, I hope you freeze your ass off up there, Richard. I know that's a bad word for me. I don't talk like that, Ed. Anyways, lots to talk about tonight. We're going to actually talk a little bit in the first half of the show. We're going to talk about our Toronto loss. We are going to play voicemails. I promise you. I know I forgot last week, but we have one so far. So we will definitely play some voicemails today. And then in the second half of the show, we're going to talk to some guys up in Chicago, the men in red 97. So we're going to talk about the next game, the home game against Chicago with the men in red 97. So that should be fun. So as always, get the chat going, say your hellos, and let's we'll try to look at your conversations as we go along in the show. Be as inclusive as we can. Ed.
But first, Peter Brown, we really should talk about where everybody should get their stuff.
If I can figure out the right button to push.
There it is.
Everybody go to Caneswear. I was planning on going this past Thursday. I didn't make it. But I will be going there soon because there are a few items that I must have, and Caneswear is where you need to go. They are in Davie, Florida, off University Drive, just south of 595. Easy to get to. Support a local business. And if you're in Miami and this is just a little too far for you to drive, no worries. Go to Caneswear.com. They've got everything on there. They've got the new black jersey. They've got a hat that I want to get. I think I probably need to get my wife a jersey. Yep. And she hasn't had my wife has never had a jersy. She's just had a couple T-shirts. I might need to get her a jersey, and so we'll go to Caneswear and get that.
Yeah, my wife already. She actually, I never got my wife the pink one, so she's asking for the pink one, and then she saw that there's a new black one, and I was like, you already have a black one. She's like, no, but I need to be up to date. So I'm like, fine. You got to do it, guys.
But you can, and she has options. She has options when she goes to Caneswear. But, the thing is, if she's to go to a home game, she should probably just buy the pink because that's what they're going to wear. Does she want to wear what the team is going to wear, or does she want to wear the latest styles and fashions?
Well, I know the pink one's is on a special right now, I believe, at Caneswear. Nice. So you guys should go. I'm gonna definitely get that. She wanted the pink. She said that first, so it's cheaper too, Peter. So if I can,
yeah, exactly. I know a lot of people
watching.
A lot of people like to go shopping at the stadium because it's convenient, and the stadium does have a few more items that Caneswear doesn't have. But you're going to pay more at the stadium. Everything at the stadium is marked up at least like $10 more. I've noticed. So Caneswear supporting just supporting a local business it's just good. It makes you feel good. All right,
do it, guys. Do it. Yeah, Peter. Let's start naming some of these people that I saw early on.
All right,
you and I were talking doing the pre-show, and we had Sports Shorts. He was the first one I was on. Oh, you see him.
Well, I see a chat from him.
There we go. And then we got B King. Our good friend B King. Yeah. And Anthony Ornelas is also on there. Yeah, we had our chances, but yeah, we need this. Joseph is just, dude, Joseph, what's wrong with you, Joseph? Of course, one world, one goal. So always supporting us. She probably left a message, I imagine.
Not yet. At least not that I've seen.
Oh. Okay. Jose Velasquez is also with us. There he is. Kata also with us. That one guy, the only happy guy I think in the whole chat, Richard Greenberg.
It's cold.
Up there freezing.
Cold.
Yeah, he's freezing up there in Toronto. He's from Toronto, so he can rub it in our face, I guess. We've got wow, there's a lot of Doopster is also with us. There you go. And Luis Rodriguez. How you doing, Luis? Carl Toppin. And so far, they got good conversations going.
Carl's saying, I hope we don't have a bad away record this season. Well, it's not.
I guess we're going to start there.
Good. It's not starting good. Yeah, let's start with our away record, Ed. How many away wins? How many away wins do you think we've had in the history of this team, Ed?
Not many. And I know you got the stats.
11.
Holy.
In 3 seasons, 3 complete seasons in 4 games, 3 seasons in 4 games, we have 11 road wins.
Ouch.
11.
We definitely aren't road warriors, I'll tell you
Yeah, so when I came up with the title for tonight's show, Road Losers, that's actually what I was thinking, Road Warriors. And I was going to scratch out the word warriors and put in losers. I just didn't get around to doing that. But,
Slacking, Peter Brown. Slacking.
And when when you Google Road Warriors, it comes up like these 80s wrestlers. These guys had face paint and everything.
Yeah. WCW. I remember them from back in the
day. Exactly. In 2022, Ed, 2022, we had 4 road wins. 4. We had 10 home wins. So clearly we are a home team, which is good because we've got Chicago coming up and we got another home game. We've got 2 home wins, 2 home road losses, I'm
telling you, dude. I'm telling you. But wow, that doesn't make me feel too good. That we can't get any points away. I think we had our moments in this game.
Not many
in the beginning. Yeah, in the beginning at least, it looked pretty.
Like what Richard says, 3 Inter Miami shots on goal in the first 9 minutes, then nothing the rest of the game.
First half was better. We had, we looked good in the beginning.
So what's the problem? I mean, is it, and let's get the chat going, what's the problem? Is it the fact that, we're missing our captain, Gregore, gets a season-ending injury, which we didn't get to talk about last week. We did talk about the fact that he was injured, but we didn't know how bad it was last Sunday. Season-ending injury, 6 months. Technically, I guess he could potentially come back near the end of the season, but let's face it, it's probably a season-ending injury. Massive problem. And, he's one of those players where you don't necessarily see everything he does because he doesn't end up on the score sheet and all that. And they brought in, I guess really kind of Mota did the job of what Gregore does, and maybe Bryce Duke came in to do what Mota does. This was Bryce Duke's time. I'm a huge Bryce Duke fan. I mean, I'm thinking I should have put Duke on the back of my jersey. But how did you feel, Ed, about Duke this game?
Man, this was a time for him to shine. Of course, in away games, it's a little more difficult. But yeah, I just don't think he didn't, you know, didn't make a difference, man. Unfortunately, and I had high expectations. I was hoping, he'd turn it up, and he'd keep getting them starts because somebody's got to replace Gregory. Of course, man, I hate to keep repeating that same name. Pozuelo is so missed. That guy could just, that's what we need right now. And unfortunately, Stefanelli hasn't stepped up.
But Stefanelli had his best game, I think. I've complained about Stefanelli running around with little to show for it. I think he had his best game. I think in those first 9 minutes, 2 of those shots might have been his. I know he did have a couple of shots on goal. I think he was very, very active, all over the pitch. No Pozuelo, for sure. Right. But I think it was his best game. Maybe there's something there, maybe not. I don't know. Pizarro, what do you think about Pizarro? I was actually surprised when they pulled Pizarro out of the game. I think he was one of the better players of the game.
Yeah, I thought so too. He's recuperating the ball quite a bit. He always has that thing where he kind of looks like he's holding on too long. But the thing is, he does distribute the ball. He does recuperate the ball. So yeah, when he took Pizarro out, I was like, no. And you know what? Once they took him out, I think we started playing worse. So that's just my opinion. I don't know if you guys saw the same thing, but that's what I felt. Once he was gone, something was missing, and we lost that spark. And little by little we just started falling apart, and here we are. First half we looked better, but that was it.
Kata says here that Pizarro offers nothing. 1v1 just goes into congested defense. There's some truth to that. I did think that through some of the game, especially maybe the second half, they were trying to play in the middle a lot. They were just playing. They're trying to dribble their way in instead of playing out more on the wings and crossing. Now, of course, we were missing Yedlin because apparently he had a baby that was potentially. I don't know. Did he have his baby? I don't know. I didn't.
I'm not sure. You know what? But I didn't hear anything. Maybe they were just in case the baby was born, they didn't want him to.
Right. He was on alert.
Back last minute. Right.
He was on alert, ready for daddy duty. Have a child. So hopefully all's good with Yedlin. But Yedlin's good on those overlapping runs from the defense, crossing in the ball, and they seemed like they were just playing so much in the middle and just trying to. And Toronto definitely congested things. I don't know if the cold weather had anything to do with it. Richard Greenberg does think that maybe it does. The weather has definitely an issues yesterday. Payback for those crazy games in that Florida heat during the summer months. Well, guess what? We're going to get one of those. We're going to, I think it's September, I think. Maybe it is near the end of the season. Toronto comes here. Trust me, it may not be the summer in September, but it's plenty hot.
So, it's going to be nice and hot. Maybe that had something to do with it, Peter, because, at least the second half we were terrible. It's just, we were just lost out there. It might have to do with the cold.
Sure.
But also we're missing Gregory. He's a big deal. And Josef just, he's had his opportunities. He just cannot score for the life of him.
So I was listening to other people. Now I know we talked about it, and I know One World, One Goal was yelling at me last week, saying that they need to play it into his feet. But then, I was listening to some other pundits that they were talking about Josef actually prefers things being, crossed into the middle. And again, I'm not an Atlanta fan, so I really didn't pay attention other than when he was playing against us and saw some highlights. But he does better with maybe crosses and things like that into the middle, which we weren't doing any of that. But Luis Rodriguez is asking, what's the status on Campana? Josef Martinez ain't cutting it. And I did see one tweet, and I don't know if if there's much to it, but that he might be back next week. I don't know for sure. But what Russell Russell is saying here, I think has a lot to do with it as well. Martinez was fine. He's been getting zero service from the midfield. Miami midfield is awful. So it kind of reminds me of back in the time with Gonzalo Higuain. Higuain sucked. And how much of it was his fault? I mean, his attitude was his fault. But he played better. You mentioned it earlier when we had who, Ed?
Pozuelo. Pozuelo was just, dude, that dude was just, he got Higuain back into, scoring goals and one player makes a difference, and he's one of those players that makes a difference.
And if we had him, we might be seeing a different Josef Martinez. Everybody's talking, he's still out of shape. Okay. But was he ever one of those players that was really running around a lot, or is more of a poacher? I've always heard that he's more of a poacher.
He's more of a poacher.
Right. So he was never running around all that much to begin with. He wasn't doing a lot of defense to begin with or anything like that.
Right.
And we're, like was mentioned with Pizarro, all his little dribbling, and it's great and all. I think Pizarro has been really, really good in the midfield, breaking up plays.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he does get into the offense, he does have the tendency of dribbling a little too much and, falling apart.
And there's just, I think, some opportunities that were given where Martinez, I just don't, I think he had his chances. He just didn't capitalize on them. And I just feel that if Campana would have been in that situation, he would have scored a couple already. So
I agree. If you guys have opinions about this, call 786-474-4435.
Or put it in the chat and we'll put it up, man.
Or put it in the chat. We've got the chat going.
Worth discussing.
Kata thinks that Campana should be on the bench next week. We did hear that Jake LaCava was on the bench. I know a lot of people are excited to see what this young kid can do. He was supposedly on the bench, didn't get in. So about Josef, we do know that next week when we're playing against Chicago, and we'll talk more about this in about 10 minutes or so, but Josef is on international duty with Venezuela. So So you could shake your head at that, but at the end of the day, has he done much? Right? He hasn't scored anything. So is there a loss other than depth? Because you figure starting now is what, Lassiter?
Probably, because I don't know about the injury for Borgelin, I believe.
He had some sort of injury. I think it was a small injury, but I don't know how long. Like Kata's saying, bad luck with injuries. We got Mr. Glass, LaCava, Borgelin, Campana. I mean, we thought our front was deep, but it's not deep when they all get hurt at the same time.
Yeah. So, man, we definitely need some of these guys back. Mr. Glass. It sucks. I think Mr. Glass is a pretty decent player when he's on the pitch.
Exactly.
But he's not on the pitch that often because he's always hurt. So that's one of those players that hopefully we can recover him and hopefully he can stay healthy because this and Campana too. Campana's like right behind him with all the injuries and stuff, man. These guys, they need to man up, man. That's what it comes down. That's what I think it is, Peter.
Man up.
They need to man up and play injured or something. Because, gosh.
Steve Munoz thinks we need a presence in the box, like Campana maybe. The current setup, we have a group of attackers that are short and don't jump much. White man can't jump, Ed.
Well, Campana could jump pretty high. I've seen him, and I think some of those. Definitely. I mean, we do have short guys on the team. Campana is one of the taller guys. I think we need him in there, or Borgelin too. I expected him to be exactly there, but I guess he got hurt, man. And we just, this is terrible.
All right, we're going to be switching gears soon. So before we switch gears to the Chicago, and we talk to some people that are going to be calling us soon from let's go to the voicemail because we got a couple. Another one just came in, so let's go to voicemail. It's time for your voicemail.
Hello.
Hey, mi gente. It's your boy Yankee Yank from Maryland. Calling. Hope the family is doing well. I know last night was a tough loss, but hey, you guys are still, there's lots of reasons to be optimistic. Big shouts out to my favorite Red, Richard Greenberg, your team starting to look like Toronto's starting to look like they're coming together a little bit. And with all that Canadian flavor, hey, let's see where it goes. Of course, I would be remiss without giving a holler out to America's Uncle Ned. I got to holler out to my boy Bougie from Bougie and Snobby. I got to holler out to Esteban.
I thought he was going to...
The other one.
Say me.
Of course, there's always the first lady. One world, one goal. Team, family, your team still, I think you guys are trending in the right direction. That's a tough game to go up there. The game last week, playing on that terrible, dreadful field that MLS allows to have New York City FC play on, own goal, those things are going to happen. I still think you guys are looking way better than you were this time last year. Sorry about the loss of your captain, but hey, there's going to be some games won. There's going to be some games lost. There's going to be some that you draw. So it's a long season, and let's still wait and see what happens during one of those summer transfer windows. All right? So y'all take care. Could be worse. You could be DC United.
Oh,
that's what I'm living with.
Oh.
If there was Pro Row, we'd be playing against Loudoun United, which is pretty embarrassing. Holler to
you got Rooney there.
Yeah, and he's like, we would be playing against Loudoun United. Woo. Yeah.
Ouch. Yeah. Good to hear Yankee boy, man.
Good to hear Yankee with always the positive vibes. It's early in the season. Let's not get too down. The problem is we are seeing a trend where we're bad on the road. That's the problem, But Richard Greenberg brings up an interest I forgot about that first MLS game that featured two father and sons playing against each other. It was the nepotism game, Ed. The nepotism game.
Yeah, man. Talk about nepotism. Yeah, you're going to ask me the same thing I was going to ask you.
How do you think Neville played?
I'd like to say, better things, but the first goal, he was right there.
He was there, but what I looked at it like his positioning was wrong. He was on the backside of the player instead of on the front side. If he was on the front side, he would have been able to block that. So positioning maybe, although a lot of defenders are in that same position. I think overall he had a pretty good game, but then the second goal, he just kind of watched the ball go in. He didn't even try really.
Right. So
stretch it out.
I don't know. Yeah, it's I think he's got potential. I don't think he was bad. Too bad. He needs to prove himself. And that there's a reason why he's out there. So he's still got a chance, I guess. But I don't know. Yedlin should be back in the next game. So
yeah, I don't think it was bad in the nepotism tournament, but he was better than I expected. I think I chatted you guys that they were going to attack him all game is what I thought, because new player, they know he's new. Let's go at him. Right. And they did go at him a little bit, but not as much as I thought. He overall held his own. He looked composed on the ball. He didn't look like he was a star player, but he also didn't look like he was out of his league either.
Right. So
all right,
he's at his level.
Another one. Another voicemail.
Hey, Peter and Uncle Ed and all the great fans. It's Italia One Road Mongol. Yes, just calling in about the Martinez thing. I did think he needed the ball in his stride, only because he's still out of shape and coming back from injury. And, he may never be the same after having a really bad knee operation, but it depends on the player. Also, you were right that he's expecting crosses and other style of play, but this goes back to my thinking that, it doesn't make much sense, but believe it or not, Central Americans don't really play the same style as South Americans. So, Pizarro and Martinez are not really going to jive and get along with each other the same way that Higuain and Pizarro really didn't blend, because it's just a completely different style of play. He's probably looking for crosses, like you said. It's just a matter of since we don't have Pozuelo, and I don't know, it's Stefanelli also, it's kind of a little different style of play. He doesn't seem like he's going to jive with Pizarro. And I'm not saying it's Pizarro's fault. You can tell he's playing hard. Everyone was frozen this past game, so I think we have to just throw this past game out the window. Except for Phil Neville's son, Harvey. Oh my God, this kid is a baller. Now, it was a little weird because they had two father and son combination of coach and playing for the first time ever with the Bradley and the Neville. But the kid is good. And I do want to bring up, why do we have 8 prominent injuries? I mean, we got everybody out. Campagna, Allen. Now, granted, Gregory's was fluke because of Pellegrini and maybe that bad turf on New York City's little baseball postage stamp, as Ray Hudson would say, field. That might have contributed to it. But all these other injuries, are they happening during practice because people are trying to impress the coach? Do they live in Miami and they're commuting all the way to Fort Lauderdale and their bodies are just worn out? I don't know. Like, we have like 8 players out. Of course, Mr. Glass is out, but I mean, come on. We've got Lacava out. We've got, I mean, I can't even give you the list, but it's, if you look it up, I saw the names of the 8 players that were injured this past game and can't even be on the bench. And I'm like, whoa, and which is bad because Allen, Borgelin, these guys should be getting a chance, but even they're out. Anywho, here's to better days and cheers. Hope to have a beer with you guys soon. Love you. Love the show.
You got to come to a game one World One Gold in order to have a beer with us. Come on. Show up. Meet us at the Heineken bar. That's where we usually are. So, Ed, I always wonder. I'm curious. I don't know the stats of this. This is just a question I have. Do we have more injuries than other teams? Because it seems like we always have the same kind of problem. Are we training these players too hard?
There's something there, Peter, because we weren't even able to get 20 players. Usually they have 20 players in total, the guys that are playing and the guys on the bench. We had 19, so that's not a good sign. We were missing a player there. We're not looking good. There are too many injuries. And, man, if we get another injury in the next game or so, we're going to be even more hurting. But I'm hoping we get some of these players back as soon as possible. Man, I can't wait till we get to the point where we can get some reinforcements, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, guy, summer window.
Guy. Yeah, we're gonna need it, and especially if there's that rumor that Busquets might be coming. It might be part.
There was another rumor that he might not.
Well, yeah, I've heard that too. But I think he'd be happy to come here. He'd probably have to take a pay cut because we have too many DPs at this point. So, I mean, if that happens, then we definitely have somebody that's going to cover for Gregory, and I think that we would dominate in the midfield. But we're still crossing fingers over here.
Yeah. Richard Greenberg says about the injuries, TFC suffers from injuries early every season too. Lots of soft tissue injuries. Yeah, and they have their best player injured, and they still beat us 2-0. Insigne is out for 3-4 games. So, and they still beat us. But yeah. And I wonder if they're getting injuries because they're playing up there in the Arctic North. It was. I was watching some of the Chicago game too, which we'll hopefully get to soon. That it was cold up there too. It's pretty cold up there. It being cold is why I decided let me wear some long sleeves so that I can sympathize with these people in my 80-degree weather.
Yeah, it's nice out there. Actually, it's kind of breezy.
Yeah, it's actually, I think it's like 70-something, Ed. It's a little chilly, if you will.
I'm still in shorts, though.
Of course.
That is kind of chilly for us. I mean, I start to get a little chill, especially, the wind chill factor, going when you're up in the 80s.
It's
and
currently
goes down to the 70.
Mm-hmm. Ed, Richard Greenberg, it's currently 67 degrees here. It's a little chilly.
Well,
it's a little
Peter
chilly.
is a little farther up than I am. I'm down here in Miami. He's up in Fort Lauderdale. So there is 40 minutes distance, I would say.
I don't know if that makes any difference in the weather, but
I think so, because I think it's warmer down here where I'm at. But either way, it's still warmer than up there in the cold, north.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing we got against them right now because they beat us. So, good for you, Richard. The only one happy in this, I think, in the chat.
Exactly. Well, we're hoping for our guest to call in soon from Chicago. There's a group of podcasters that we found, Men in Red 97. So we're hoping they give us a call soon.
They're, I think, behind schedule. Let me send a quick message real quick.
Right. So we could talk up the next game.
Yeah. Yeah, they're...
Sports Shorts says, I only started watching Inter Miami inconsistently last season, but I'm really getting into it this season. Nice. Always good to have some new fans. Curious, Sports Shorts, were you a soccer fan before that, or is the sport new to you, or is it just this team that is new to you? So I'm curious, are you a new soccer fan or, new to Inter Miami? But always need more fans. I mean, we got to fill that stadium. And speaking of stadiums, Ed, we did hear word that today was I think I saw some tweets or some posts that Mel Reese Golf Course was saying farewell. Come play golf here one last time.
Yeah, send a picture because woe is me. We had a good time on this polluted, toxic, golf course.
You can't build on it because it's polluted, but you could walk around on it all day and no problem. That's weird.
Oh, wow.
That's weird to me. It's okay to play golf on a polluted field, but it's not okay to build on polluted.
Right.
And what I'm basically saying is they shouldn't probably have been playing any golf either. So
right. Well, yeah, I just got a message from Alan, and he's telling me he's having an error message. I just sent him the link again, so let's see if he can.
All right. Well, if they can't get in, we'll just do our normal thing and we'll just talk. Sports Shorts is new to the sport. Awesome. Glad you're here. Hopefully you make it out to Drive Pink Stadium against this coming weekend against Chicago. So Ed, I am a little bit concerned about the Chicago game.
Well,
but you want to know why I'm concerned? Hang on. Before you get into stats or anything interesting, I'm concerned because, look, my wife is great. But since I've been bringing my brother to these games, we I think we win or tie every game he's been to.
Yep.
That's a good streak.
We haven't lost every time he's around, so how do you tell the wife, honey, don't come with us?
Here's the problem. His wife needs him to do something and has a family event. He can't come next week, Ed.
Oh, man.
It's good for me. It's good for me in that I get to bring my wife back and she's going to have fun. And she's always a lot of fun at the games. And so that's going to be great. But the problem is, he's our
mascot.
Right. So without my
charm,
I just don't know how well we're gonna do without my brother as we face Chicago.
Oh man, Peter,
I am concerned.
I am too, man. That's not a good sign. I don't know what we're gonna do if he's not there.
One World, One Goal says Peter's brother is good luck. Now what happens to Mrs. Peter? She's coming, and it'll be fun because she's gonna find a player to yell at and scream and be upset with, and it's gonna be fun.
It used to be Higuain,
right?
It used to be Higuain,
right? But anyways, hey Ed, at this point we did get our guys from Chicago on the line. And so we want to as I started prepping for talking about my worries about Chicago. My worries about Chicago aren't so much about them, because look, hey, we play well at home. We don't play well on the road. Chicago's not really having a good decade. I don't know if they've been good for a while, but we've got on the call with us
the experts.
Right, but we got on. We tracked down some fans. And speaking of Chicago, we actually do have a regular listener from Chicago. He listens to us every single week, listens in English and also in your Spanish show. He's a Chicago fan, but he listens to us every single week. And I say listens because he's got a sight problem. So for him, it's all about listening. And so I told him about these guys, Men in Red 97. I said, you got to go check them out. New podcast for you to check out, a website, all that kind of stuff. So let's welcome in Alan from Men in Red 97.
Good evening. How are we all feeling?
How you doing, Alan? Welcome to the show.
I'm breathing.
Breathing,
nice.
yeah.
I like that. The microphone, man. That's really cool. Nice.
Thank you. There's the Rode N21A. Yeah.
Oh, nice. It looks good, man. And you sound crisp too.
Got a good backdrop, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, man. Alan, I mean, there's I'm not too familiar with Chicago, so tell us the good things about Chicago. What you guys got to bring down here to South Florida and beat us? Or try to beat us.
Low key, we're still trying to figure that out ourselves. Ezra has been changing some things around. We've been trying new formations. We tried a new formation against Philly. Almost worked. Fabian Herber's just got himself sent off, and it just fell apart literally in the last 5 minutes. And then what we tried out in our last game against Cincinnati, it worked so much. We were 3-1 up, and then they... there's this thing called the Chicago curse, where this doesn't just apply to the Fire. This applies to all teams, Chicago, Major League Sports, even university teams, where they'll do so well, they'll pick up that momentum, and then the last 15 to 5 minutes falls flat.
I saw that. Apart. I could not believe it. You guys had that game against Cincinnati. You had it. Could we.
Neither could we.
What? How that hurt? I mean, I didn't see the whole game. I just saw the highlights, but I was like, wow, these guys, basically the game was done, man, and in 10 minutes it just fell apart.
It's the history of the Chicago. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and I think blame game. You have to look at the manager, because Cincinnati made those changes as the game progressed, as the third goal went in right at the beginning of the second half. I was like, man, our things are going to change. All of a sudden, Cincinnati start making some changes. They start making tactical changes. We don't catch up to that. And what happens is that the game just becomes absolutely sloppy. It falls apart. You could also say maybe a few individual mistakes in the back, but I think in the end, Ezra just did not catch on to the tactical changes that were made by Cincy, and they just unfortunately caught up to us. So
yeah, I was wondering what your thoughts were on Ezra Hendrickson. I mean, he was a great player, had a great history in LA Galaxy, but I think this is his first head coaching position.
Yeah.
What kind? I mean, obviously, it sounds like you don't have much positive to say about it.
There's got to be something better than Ezra, right? Get it? Better than Ezra?
I mean, it's like you guys said before I came on here, it's been a rough decade, just managers in and out. And, with the whole rebrand, going back to Soldier Field, getting a new owner, new sporting director, we thought things would possibly change. And they sort of looked like it, especially when Ezra came in. But now things are just still not... They're not clicking, and this is like the second rebuild of the rebrand phase since 2020 when we came back to Soldier Field. Just things are not clicking, and you can point a lot of fingers, whether it's at Ezra, whether it's at our sporting director George Heights, whether it's the front office in general. It's incredibly frustrating, and Ezra himself, I think, said in a press conference after the game that he was like, the players weren't 100% there, and that there wasn't a whole lot of commitment near the end to finish out the game. And it's like, fam, you're also in our eyes to blame, for not catching on to the changes that Cincy made. So it's just frustrating all around. We're not going to bring out the Ezra out signs just yet. I know there's a few Fire faithful that are already calling for him to be out, but
that's a little early. It's a little early.
Yeah. Give him a chance.
Give him a little bit of time.
Fire fans, including myself, are frustrated. because a decade has passed of incredibly lackluster performances, not making playoffs, making it like once in 2017, only to get thrashed at home to New York Red Bulls, and it's like we're done. It's like we're just tired of this, and the statistic of us being the only team in the Eastern Conference not to have won, it's just frustrating, especially when we have hope. It's like there's times when we look at this team and it's like, okay, it's working, and then it's like when we were 3-1 up, and it's like, okay, they figured something out. Even though we didn't have, Shaqiri wasn't on there, we still don't have a DP striker that we're still looking for, and it was like, maybe something's
What's going on with Shaqiri?
I low-key think he's not putting in all the effort. That's my personal thought. I don't know what's actually happening with him, but he's not really saying much. He's the second highest paid player in MLS. We expect him to work, but he's constantly being subbed off. He's always asking to be subbed off. He's walking, honestly. When we look at Shaqiri on the pitch, he's walking. He's not putting in all the effort, and it's like, if you don't want to play, if you don't want to put in that much effort, and you're just here for the money, then honestly, why are you here? It's like it's frustrating. And we talked about on the Men in Red 97 podcast, right when the season started, who is the X factor for our squad? And I said Shaqiri. He needs to be the one that steps up. So he's not the captain, but he is like the player. The big name player, this man's won Champions League and the Bundesliga. This is someone that knows how to win because he's done it several times before. But he's not showing that on the pitch.
Sure.
Right. So it's honestly in general with like our DP situations, be it Shaqiri, sort of Jairo Torres, and then of course we don't have a third DP yet. We're looking for that DP striker because we brought in Kacper Przybyłko from the Union, thinking he's going to replicate all those goals he got for the Union. Hasn't really happened, though. We did have that really nice goal against Cincy, so maybe that's a confidence boost there. And he has shown playing in a front two with Kai Kamara at why am I blanking, at the Union, that he can do that work. It's again trying to figure out that system that works best. But at the same time, a lot of Fire fans, there's little to no patience because
you're done.
We're done. And what's frustrating is now that we have an expansion team that is St. Louis, and they're the first MLS side to go 4-0.
Right.
For a first-year expansion team. And we used to always be the one that were like, oh, we were so good when we were an expansion team back in the years of old. But now it's like...
And you're probably too young to have enjoyed those years of old,
yeah, because I wasn't there yet.
Right. That was our time. I almost wore tonight... I almost wore my Fusion gear because I was like, talking Chicago Fire makes me think of the Miami Fusion. We came into the league at the same time, but yeah, you probably weren't even there for that stuff.
No, I wasn't. No.
Yeah. Richard Greenberg is a fan from Toronto, by the way. He says, yeah, it must be rough being a Fire fan these days.
It's not just being rough a Fire fan. It's rough for being a fan of Chicago as a whole.
Oh, okay.
Just every aspect. There's none of the 6 major league teams are just they're not there yet. Even
you think it.
Yeah.
I go to
DePaul. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say this, but I go to DePaul University, so even our basketball team, same thing. We'll have that momentum. We're winning. We almost pulled an upset against Xavier in the Big East tournament, only to collapse in the last 5 minutes. So.
Wow. I was going to ask you, do you think that has something to do with was it the cold, or
it was cold there
because everybody's so frustrated
it was super
with the
cold.
team that like not many people showed up?
You can say it's a combination of both. Personally, I wasn't really able to go to the game because I had work.
Nobody showed up.
And it was incredibly empty. I'm pretty sure someone said that the north end of the stadium had like maybe a dozen people in there. Yeah, there was only
7,815 people total in Soldier Field. That is a giant stadium for only 7,000. For that, you guys should have stayed in Bridgeview. Let's be real.
I can go on forever why, even though, you know, with the whole attendance thing, why I prefer Soldier Field to Bridgeview. Because first of all, Soldier Field is in Chicago.
Sure.
Bridgeview is in Bridgeview. And even though where I'm at right now, it's closer to Bridgeview, it's more difficult to get to because the public transport to like the further out in the suburbs, so like where Bridgeview is, non-existent. And it's personally why I wasn't able to go to much games growing up, you know, when we were at Bridgeview. At Soldier Field, there's, you know, you're able to take the CTA, you know, and also there's a highway and major road literally right off of where Soldier Field is. It's just so much easier to get to. But yeah, at the same time, a decade of this,
I was going to say,
a lot of people just...
Yeah, you can't blame it on the cold, right? Because in Toronto, it was equally as cold, if not more. I don't know the difference in temps, but it was cold. And they had over 20,000 people at their game. So it must be more to it than just the cold. Like,
and they're kind of sucky too, but not as long as Chicago's been though. So.
No, and also Toronto, they have a few players that people are excited to see.
Sure.
And it's like our off season, while we had made some good acquisitions, has been lackluster enough. Honestly, we haven't had that like big name signing. I mean, when we got Shaqiri, we had some people out because we were like, oh, we got a Champions League winner, we got a Bundesliga winner, we got someone that's got really nice calves and everything like that. And he hasn't showed up. Wow. So it's like people are like, yeah, we got shut on Shaqiri, but what is he going to do?
What do you guys think about Mueller? Kata here in the chat is saying Mueller fell off since leaving Orlando. I know he had a good game last game.
He had a really good game, and I think you could I guess hint that he fell. That part of that falling off was we went in his time in Scotland, and you know he's coming back to MLS trying to reacclimate. Personally, I think Mueller is someone, if not one of the more important people in that squad. And someone that if, you know, there's a new manager or sporting director and we once again need to rebuild, he is someone definitely that will be a part of it. I personally believe that Chris Mueller has a place in that squad.
Yeah, I like him. Yeah, I like him.
It. And honestly, I think this will probably be his season. He will probably be Fire MVP. If not, Chris Brady, our young goalkeeper, and we're hoping to replicate or even, you know, expand on what Gaga did previously. But no, yeah, Mueller, he's good.
Every time I hear Mueller, I think Bueller.
Bueller.
Yeah,
Bueller. Chicago.
It makes sense, Chicago.
Mm-hmm. I know. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies from my time. Before your time.
Oh, there you go. Alan, another thing I was going to say, I noticed your Twitter handle has the number 69 at the end.
Oh, jeez. Here we go. I'm leaving again. I'm leaving.
Well, a jersey behind him, Peter Brown, it has a 9 there. Man, you gotta show it off, man. See, like I do.
So the reason why it's 69 is because I wanted my full username to be the Pole with a Goal, which is like my nickname. But I was one character off. So I was like, all right, Pole with a Goal. I'm just going to fill in the rest. And I was like, funny number. Sure. Why not? So yeah, the reason though why I have a number 9 is because growing up when I did play soccer, I didn't play much. I did very much like playing up front as a striker. So I just like wearing the number 9 personally. So
Ed, it's not because he's a dirty old man like you.
Oh, well, you know, I'm just saying he should wear the 69 so, you know, he can...
Out of all of us, I'm the one that should be...
69 jersey, but maybe I will. But for now, I'll just stick with the number 9 I got right now.
I mean, I could get away with wearing it. You know, it's my birth year. I mean, it's a good year. Back in the summer of 69, like Bryan Adams used to say, before your time.
That's how old Peter Brown is. He's actually born in 69.
I'm old.
Wow.
Yeah, like Alan's like, wow.
Yeah, wow. You're like my dad's age.
My dad's older. My dad's from 53.
Okay,
Oh, no,
we're close.
he is old.
We're close. A new Weissman, he's a fan in Atlanta fan. It says Chicago ownership doesn't know what they're doing. Awful front office hires and signings. What do you have to say about that, Alan?
They're not completely wrong. Currently, there's a little bit of a battle going on between the FO and especially season ticket holders, because the FO is currently showing that they care more about, I guess, new and casual fans rather than the current season ticket holders and probably the people that are spending the most money. Specifically, this was March 12th, so it's like 3-1-2 day for Chicago, and they did a thing where, like, if you buy it for any game in the season, if you buy a ticket, you get one for free. And a lot of season ticket holders, rightfully so, were mad. And it was like, okay, so random, new fans or just people that might go to one game can get one for one, while we, though we have a small discount, still have to pay for that. So there is that battle. In terms of signings, yeah, a lot of them have been either really good or not so much. So that is one. And if there is a name that a lot of Fire faithful are calling for out, it is our sporting director, George Heights. I definitely think that if we don't make playoffs, he'll probably be one of the people to go. Maybe Ezra, though I'm not sure on that one yet, personally. So not completely wrong in terms of the ownership, not really know what they're doing. But it's a relatively new owner. Mm-hmm. Since 2020, that was like the first season where he got here. From what I heard, he wasn't even in charge when this rebrand happened. So
how do you feel about that rebrand? I like the old Fire logo way better.
Oh yeah, the one that's on the wall right there. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a staple of American soccer. It's a staple. So
the new logo is better than the one you're wearing. But the original logo is better than all of them.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Though, from what I heard, the reason why they wanted to change it is so that we don't get confused with both the actual Chicago Fire Department and the TV show Chicago Fire.
Oh, come on. You guys have been using it for how long?
No joke. That's stupid. What can we do? I know it is
what
dumb.
It is? No, what it is every new owner wants to put their stamp on the team. It's no different than when Stephen Ross bought the Miami Dolphins some years back. He wanted to update the Dolphins logo. He didn't change it that dramatically, but he updated it, gave it a modern look. Every owner, when they buy a team, they want to put their stamp on the team. And I think it's the same thing there. He may tell you reasons as to why. At the end of the day is he wants his stamp on the team.
I guess, and that makes sense. And, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong. And here's the thing. When the whole rebrand, the original thing happened, the move back to Soldier Field, it very much felt like we were a new expansion team. No longer Chicago Fire Soccer Club, Chicago Fire FC, moved back to Soldier Field. I was like, okay, I like this. And then then this logo dropped, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, and the majority of fans were like that as well.
Hey, at least they rectified it. The newer logo you guys have is better than that one. It's not bad. Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's just not as good as the original. But they rectified
it. It's better than Ezra. I just had to throw that in there again.
I don't think he's getting your joke, Ed.
Obviously, yeah.
It's too young, Ed.
He's not old enough. Yeah.
That's a '90s joke.
Well, I saw the synths, the keyboards in the back, so I thought maybe he was a little more old school.
Oh, that's just a keyboard that I use when I practice piano. So
doesn't mean he's into '90s keyboard, Ed.
That's
good try though.
That's funny. So what do you? Okay, so you guys are now traveling down to South Florida. What do you think? Who should we be concerned about as here at Drive Pink Stadium? Do you have confidence in your team on the road? I know we don't have confidence in our team when they're on the road. We're a good home team. How do you feel about Chicago's chances here in Fort Lauderdale?
Well, we absolutely can understand your guys' frustration on the road because we were in the same place when we were under Raphael Wicke. I'm pretty sure we only had one. Under the 2 seasons that he was here, we had one away win. And so we share the same frustrations. Now it's a bit different. We're able to challenge on the road. Players to look out for, 100%. We already mentioned his name earlier. It is Chris Mueller. I think he's definitely going to be someone that is charging on the left-hand side. There's also, I think personally, now that Kai Kamara is going to be back from suspension from that red card, both him and Chibilka up front, I think that could be something, as well as someone that's also who's honestly proven himself in the last few games. I'm still butchering his name, Halis Salese, our number 7 that we brought in this offseason. Definitely, I think in terms of on the wings, I think we got something there as well. Is Shaqiri going to be back? Because I think he was resting an injury. That's a good question, but we'll see from there. But definitely Mueller and Marine Halis Salese. Absolutely. That's someone that you should look out for. And then, of course, our young Chris Brady. He's got it. He's got it. He's earned himself a few caps with the youth national team, and Chicago's got good goalkeepers, so I'll say that.
All right. Hey, so tell us a little bit about Men in Red 97. What are you guys doing? I know you guys have a website plus a podcast. Tell us about yourself.
So Men in Red 97 was created by Matt, who was originally supposed to be here, but he's not. So I'm holding down the fort. Basically, Matt created.
You're doing good.
Thanks. So Men in Red 97 was created basically so that fans, not some people that work for the clubs, but fans were able to spread the good word when it is good about the Fire, and basically create a hub, a place for existing fans and new fans to read about the Fire, to listen to the Fire, basically get their Fire content from. And I'm a part of the podcast team, Men in Red 97 podcasts. Listen to where you get your podcasts, as well as meninred97.com. So yeah, there it is. We got news on there, match reviews, player ratings, all that. We have a bunch of really good writers and people working on this website. And of course, the podcast with me, Matt, DJ. We also have hot takes, where people are able to send their hot takes and listen to that as well. So this is definitely, it's a step for the Fire and Fire fans to let our voices be heard, and for people to, be like, okay, what is this club from Chicago about? And that, yes, indeed, there are Fire fans, even though the attendance number doesn't show that, we exist.
And I thought it was important also to show some of that stuff because, like I said, I don't know if you heard earlier, we have a regular viewer, or I think he's more of a listener because he has eye issues, that listens to he likes what we do, but he's a Fire fan. And he's always telling me that you guys, for example, don't have a radio broadcast. He was saying that there weren't really many good podcasts, nobody doing a show like this there. So I wanted to put a spotlight on you guys. I don't know if you're doing video yet, but I know you are doing audio. But with your background, you got a good background. You should do video. Yeah, throw it up there.
Good. We are working on some video aspects. I know Matt said that we're going to get a YouTube channel up and also put up content up there. And shout out Matt because he's doing this. And shout out Matt for creating Men in Red 97, for being the founder and the person that pushed the word out. And of course, thanks to him, I have something to talk about. And really, just it's so much fun, especially that you're not just having to rely on team media or team news and sources and stuff like that, because they're not going to really say everything we have to think about. Exactly. And people just need to see that Fire fans, we exist. We very much care for this club, and we want the world to know about it. And thanks to Men in Red 97 on Twitter, Instagram, pretty sure we also have a Facebook as well, podcast, news, everything. Mm-hmm. We want the world to know.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting how some of the older teams in the league, Fire being one of them, it doesn't make any sense that you guys are struggling for fan support. I mean, it should be a no-brainer when you see teams coming into this league. There's actually something that MLS is doing. They're put together a new group or whatever that's their focus, is to kind of get the older teams back online, to learn from what some of these newer teams like St. Louis, Atlanta, and all these other teams that have come into the league with like gangbusters, and kind of learn from what they've done and try to convince and teach some of these older teams how to do it. Like, teams that don't draw, like Chicago, Colorado, Dallas. There's several of you guys that are in the same kind of situation. We're not that much better, but so.
Y'all are on the up and coming though.
Yeah. Especially we're new and we're still trying to get our stadium in Miami done. So it's all gonna things are looking up down here in South Florida. Well, yeah. Anyways,
y'all got the weather as well, so.
I was just hanging out by the pool all day today, nice 80-something degrees, just
out
chilling
in the
out.
Sun.
I'm
checking out my mango tree.
I don't know. I forgot to ask you, what was the weather like there and today, Alan?
Well, today it was cold. It was below freezing, but we had the sun out, so it was a bit warmer. And I still was wearing my scarf and my beanie.
Freezing, below freezing. I don't even know what that feels like. I don't know what that feels like. I had my legs in the pool. I'm just chilling out. Got a nice beverage.
Why don't you come up here? Why don't you come up here and find out?
The funny thing is, my wife...
The Chicago weather to the fullest. I think we're in our third stage of winter or something like that.
My wife works for a company that's based out of Chicago, an electric company, energy company out of Chicago. She works remotely. But so we've talked about there may need to be a trip to Chicago, and I may need to tag along and go see what Chicago is all about. But and of course,
it's fun up here.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. It's just cold.
It's just cold during the winter, and that's
That's Richard Greenberg, who's in Toronto, is telling me to shut up.
Well.
All right, Richard, we'll shut up because that's about it. Hey, thanks so much, Alan. Everybody, make sure you go to Men in Red 97. The Twitter handle's on there. The website, meninred97.com. Check out everything they're doing. Thanks so much, Alan, for joining us. We appreciate it.
And
good luck this weekend, but not too much.
Let's hope for a good game. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly. It'll be fun. All right. Thanks so much, Alan. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right. Good stuff there from Alan.
Yeah, I like that he was talking about, they're trying to do something kind of like, when we started, we wanted a fan perspective.
Yeah.
We didn't want anything to be, we're just a couple of guys that love soccer. We've loved it for so long that we basically begged for a team to get back over here after the Fusion was gone, and they basically they need to do something like that to try to get people interested in the team again. Chicago's a big city, man, and they've got so much to give, to so many supporters that have to be out there, Mexicans, Polish.
It's a big city that it should be easy to bring in people. I understand, okay, fine, they built the stadium out in Bridgeview, and maybe that's not the best place to build it. I've heard the same argument in Dallas that they built the stadium in Frisco, but I've been to that stadium, and it's not that far. I don't know about Bridgeview, but it seems like a no-brainer that they should be drawing the same kind of crowds that somebody like Atlanta was bringing in. They should be, but they're not. And their good years are a long way in the rearview mirror. They haven't been good for a long time. They're currently in last, Ed.
Yeah, they're but they won a championship, man. So that's a big deal.
Their first year out, they did. They've got one of those stars up on their above their logo, but it's been a while.
You would think that they would, they were going to be a dynasty like the Galaxy or like DC United, but it didn't go their way. But you know what? They're still around, and there's hopefully a good future for them. They still need to get a DP. They're looking for a DP, so.
They need a shirt sponsor too. They're blank.
Oh, dude, they got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. So, anyways, Ed, it was a lot of fun tonight. Everybody, it was, we keep trying to reach out to some other cities, and sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge to get people on Sunday nights, but I think Alan was great on Men in Red 97, so go check them out. Ed, what do we have going on tomorrow? Are we doing anything tomorrow?
Tomorrow, guys, we're going to have our Spanish show. This is going to be, I think, the 4th week in a row. Last week I had El Enmascarado, the guy with the mask.
Yeah.
He was on the show for a little bit talking about, soccer and how he got to where he is right now as one of the main, people that's out in the stadium. People are always taking pictures with him too. Tomorrow, I was hoping to have the pirate guy, but he hasn't responded to my messages, so I might have somebody else.
We're going through all the characters.
The pirate guy, Max.
All the characters, right?
Yeah, I want to get all the characters, all the crazy people out there. So I was trying to get Max from 1896 from the Vice City guys, but he hasn't responded, man. I guess he's not good with social media because I didn't find him anywhere else. And he looks like a pirate. I don't know if you've seen the picture.
I don't remember. May have to track him down at the next home game if you can't get him for tomorrow.
If it's not him, I'm going to have somebody. Yeah, definitely. If I can't get him for tomorrow, I'm going to get somebody else from one of you fans. If you guys want to be on the Spanish show with me every Monday at 9 p.m. live, put a comment. Send a comment to me, and I'll get in touch with you, and we'll be talking, because that's what I want to do. I want to talk with the fans,
Right.
We've done interviews with people before, but for a while at least, before we get to more interviews, I want to talk to the fans and see what they like and what they thought about the games. How did we do in the last game against Toronto? I want to hear what you guys have to say. So we'll go from there.
I had to laugh a little because Sports Shorts, who said, sorry, I can't join tomorrow. I don't speak Spanish. Me neither. I won't be there tomorrow either, Sports Shorts. Don't worry.
Oh, man. Well, what? Just doing it in Spanish. There's a lot of Spanish speakers. And some people tell me, hey, I want you guys to do the Spanish show again.
One World, One Guy liked the Mexican wrestling mask. Kata is saying you need to interview Serna. Let's see if One World, One Goal can make that happen.
One World, One Goal. I definitely want to get a hold of Serna, so help me out with that one. And I want to do it live.
Right. No recording. We don't like to record. We do everything live. Because we've had opportunities to talk to some big people, but they wanted to record, and we were like, nah, we want to do it live. So
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't do it live, but I'll record anytime.
Yeah, right. I mean,
it's better live.
Yeah, it's more fun live, anyways, because you guys could be a part of it as opposed to and so that's always more fun live. Anyways, all right. So tune in Monday if you speak Spanish, and if you don't, it's a good time to learn Spanish. And
9 p.m. live.
Right. And then we'll see everybody at the stadium on Saturday, 7:30 against Chicago, and it should be fun. So thanks everybody for watching. Like Tank said in the chat, please hit that like button. What did you have to say, Ed?
I was gonna say, if you guys want to talk to us, we're usually at the Heineken bar. So Peter Brown, look for Peter Brown.
I'm always early.
Before the game, Peter's usually there. I get there barely with enough time, but you could see me there at halftime and after the game. So,
and if we could get Ed to the stadium earlier, we're gonna do some more food videos as well. But we got to get Ed to the stadium. We got to get Ed to the stadium earlier. So everybody
I'll have to go early.
Yeah. So we can do some more food videos for you guys as well. Those are a lot of fun. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. You guys are the best in the chat. You guys make this fun. Please like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. And we'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Peppa's here. Put him in the middle. There he is. There's Peppa. All right, see you.